Most people who visit Portugal see the same 7 places, the same azulejo facades, the same viewpoints, the same golden hour everybody photographs. But the country is much quieter than its most visited corners suggest. It has inland plateaus where the air is dry and still. River gorges so remote they feel like another century. Stone villages that were never really discovered, not because they lack beauty, but because nobody thought to look. This is a different kind of Portugal, the kind that takes a little more patience and gives back something harder to name. There are places where human settlement and raw landscape have reached a kind of agreement. Monsanto is one of them. This village in the Beira Baixa sits among boulders so vast, so old, so completely woven into daily life that stone has become the architecture. Walls follow the curve of rock. Rooms are sheltered beneath overhangs. The whole hillside reads as something between a village and a geological event. Walking through it, you keep pausing, not at any single view, but at the texture of the place, the way centuries of habitation have left almost no visible seam between what was built and what was simply there. It is one of the strangest, most quietly astonishing places in the country. Portugal's northeastern corner is defined by altitude, by emptiness, and by the Douro River cutting through it in a gorge that arrives almost without warning, sheer walls dropping to green water far below. Miranda do Douro sits at the edge of that drop, a small city with a cathedral built in the 16th century that still anchors the plateau like an anchor stone. But what makes Miranda genuinely remarkable is not its geography, though that is considerable. It is the fact that the people here speak a language, not a dialect, a distinct Romance language, older than modern Portuguese, that has survived in this one isolated corner of the world. The plateau kept it alive. The remoteness did what remoteness sometimes does. It preserved something that everywhere else was lost. From the Alentejo plains below, Marvao barely registers. A thin, pale line along a ridge at altitude, easy to miss, easy to drive past. But from inside the walls, standing at the edge of the fortification, the plains stretch out so far and so flat beneath you that the horizon seems to curve. The air is different up here, drier, cooler, quieter in a way that has something to do with the altitude and something to do with how few people make the climb. The village within the walls is small, genuinely small, a place where the streets empty by mid-afternoon and the light across the stone has that particular quality of the high Alentejo in late day, almost orange, almost too warm to look at directly. The kind of beauty that takes a moment to register and then doesn't leave. South of Lisbon, past the ferry crossing, the Alentejo coast begins to open up. The pine trees thin, the dunes widen, and somewhere along this stretch of Atlantic shore, the landscape becomes something close to elemental. Pale sand, pale sky, water so cold and so clean it reads almost gray in the morning and green by afternoon. Comporta has attracted a certain kind of quiet attention in recent years. Writers, architects, people looking for something that feels unedited. What keeps it worth visiting is what still isn't there. The density, the infrastructure, the accumulated weight of mass tourism. What is there is the coast itself, backed by rice paddies and cork oak stands, and a light in the late afternoon that arrives at a low angle and stays long enough to matter. There is a particular quality of stillness that only comes in mountains, in narrow valleys, where the sun arrives late and leaves early, and the stone absorbs the cold through the night. Piodao has that quality. It is a schist village, built from the dark, layered rock of the Serra da Estrela foothills, tiered up a steep slope so that each row of houses looks down onto the roof of the one below. From a distance, it reads more like a rockfall than a settlement, which is exactly what makes it beautiful. The blue-painted window frames are the only color in the composition. Everything else is dark gray, weathered, quiet. The road in is winding and not quick, which means Piodao is surrounded by the one thing most places in Europe can no longer reliably offer: genuine silence. Crato is the kind of place that takes a little patience to read. It is a town of whitewashed streets and long afternoon shadows, unhurried in the way that Alentejo towns tend to be unhurried, not empty, just quiet, as though the pace of things was decided a long time ago and has simply held. What earns it a place on any list is the monastery fortress at its edge, the Flor de Rosa. Built in the 14th century for the Knights Hospitaller, it is one of the most complete and imposing examples of military Gothic architecture in the country, and it receives almost no visitors. Standing outside it, the scale of the thing is genuinely surprising. The kind of structure that would be surrounded by tour buses in a different country, in a different century, on a different route. The Minho in the northwest of Portugal is green in a way that the rest of the country is not, genuinely, continuously, deeply green, fed by Atlantic rain and river water and a soil that takes color and holds it. Sistelo sits within that green, in a valley so steep and so terraced that every slope carries the evidence of centuries of hand-built agriculture. Stone walls follow the contours of the land upward in long, slow curves. The hamlets themselves are small and scattered, perched where the gradient allows. It is an interior landscape that somehow carries the same sense of drama you expect from coastline, the exposure, the scale, the feeling that the land is doing something notable around you. It rewards slow movement, the kind of place where stopping and looking is the entire activity. There is something in the mind that shifts when you learn that art was made in a place 25,000 years ago, not the shifted feeling you get from a museum where things are behind glass and labeled, a different kind of shift, more vertiginous. The Coa Valley holds one of the largest open-air collections of Paleolithic rock art in the world. The engravings are not hidden or enclosed. They are on the exposed schist faces of a canyon, along a river in a landscape that has changed less than most. The town nearby is unremarkable in the way that gateway towns often are. But the valley itself is another thing. Standing in it, knowing what was made here and how long ago, changes the quality of the air somehow, makes the silence feel less empty and more inhabited. At the far northeastern edge of the Algarve, where the Guadiana River marks the border with Spain, there is a town so small and so still that it is easy to believe the modern Algarve, the resorts, the golf courses, the crowded beaches, is not 40 kilometers away, but 40 years away. Alcoutim sits above the river on a gentle slope, white walls and terracotta tiles, a small castle on the hill, fishing boats on the water below. Across the river, visible but unreachable without a ferry, is a Spanish village of near identical scale. The two face each other across the water in a quiet that has lasted centuries. There is nothing here that demands your attention. That, in the end, is the point. Some places reward you not with spectacle, but with the simple fact of their stillness. 9 places, and what they share is not geography or architecture or any particular kind of landscape. What they share is a kind of patience. They were not built for visitors. They were built for living in, for sheltering in, for enduring. And perhaps that is what makes them worth the detour, the sense that whatever you find there, you are not the reason it exists. Portugal has always been a country that faces the horizon. These places remind you that sometimes the most worthwhile view is the one behind you, unhurried, unannounced, and still there.